Hi, everyone, and welcome to the season 2 of the Amazing Tennis Podcast. In this season, I will be interviewing a lot of coaches and a lot of players that have been on tour or are on tour currently and their insights and experiences of what it is to be on a professional tour. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Amazing Tennis Podcast. Today with us, we have Anna Rogers. She is an American tennis player, currently ranked 151 in doubles and 507 in singles. She graduated from NC State University in 2021. She's currently training here in South Florida and rising up in the rankings. She had a great summer of tournaments. We're gonna hear her story. And yeah, thanks, Anna, for coming here today.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad I could be here.
Yeah, me too. We recently met, actually. We played a practice set at the One Tennis Academy, which was like a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know you that well. I don't know your story that well, but I'm excited to hear just about your journey. Like, when did you start playing tennis? Like, how it all started, and how did you choose to go to college instead of turning pro?
So I started playing when I was about 5.
Okay.
My parents put me into a bunch of different sports. I was lucky enough to be able to play a bunch of different sports. So I played soccer, basketball, golf, softball,
Wow.
tennis, obviously everything. And up until 12, 13, I was mostly playing tennis and soccer. And then my parents at one point, they were like, it's too much money, you need to choose. So I was better at tennis, and we thought there was more opportunities in tennis, so I chose that. And
How old were you?
I was 5 when I started.
But how old were you when you chose just to focus on tennis?
13, 14.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That late?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I was playing tournaments when I was younger as well, but
yeah, but
I was
like just
still
tennis.
just tennis until then, yeah. And I went to my freshman year, my public high school.
Okay.
And after my coach and my parents, they kind of decided that online schooling was the best option for what I wanted to pursue. And I did not like the idea at all. Actually, the first year doing online school, I was horrible. Like my attitude was horrible. I hated it. I wanted to go back to school. I missed my friends. But then after a while, I figured out that it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me and for my tennis. So
yeah. So, I mean, I feel like once you choose tennis, like fully, you kind of have to do that if you really want to be good at it. So then how did you choose to go to NC State? How old were you? 17, 18?
I was 17, I
17.
think. I was a junior. I decided pretty early. But in the US, it's not as common to see tennis players that are fixated on the professional route from the beginning. Usually it's college, 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 college,
Okay.
college tennis, college tennis. I had no idea that there was even, I mean, I knew there was a professional tour, but I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know what it was about. I was really uneducated in that aspect.
Interesting.
But in the US, and especially I'm from Connecticut, and professional tennis is really not even a thing. I'm sure if I grew up in Florida, it would have been a very different upbringing. But in Connecticut, it was more of competitive tennis, but then like what are those called? Those clubs.
Like club.
No. The clubs where
The kids clubs?
yes, like the kids clubs where the adults play. A country club. Country club. So it's mostly country clubs in Connecticut, and it's not a super competitive atmosphere.
Okay.
And yeah, so NC State, I didn't do much research when I was looking,
Okay.
which I don't think was a mistake because I don't regret going there. I
Okay.
love my school. But if somebody was looking, I would tell them to do as much research as possible.
Okay.
And it was the first or second school that I visited, and I fell in love with the school itself, the city of Raleigh, North Carolina, the coaches, the team. we had a similar outlook and similar goals. So I think it matched up well, and ultimately I decided to go there.
That's awesome. And then you were there 4 or 5 years?
5 years.
5.
So I was there during the COVID year in 2020.
Okay.
And when they told everyone, oh, the season's done, everybody was freaking out. Actually, I remember a lot of people were posting their, I can't believe this happened. This is my last year of eligibility. And I was sitting back and I was like, there's no way that this is going to happen and they're not going to compensate us somehow.
Yeah.
So they gave us the extra year, and
Nice.
it was great. So I got a 5th year and I took it.
Nice. And then you said your college experience was great, right?
It was, yeah.
Must be nice.
Yours was not.
I mean, mixed.
Mixed.
I'm not gonna get into that now. But and then after, it's so interesting how you grew up without like having knowledge about professional tennis. That's so crazy. Like you were never like as a kid like I want to be a pro player. Were you like, or you were kind of just like, oh, I'll go to college and just.
Honestly, I never had, like, I always thought it would be cool. Like, I grew up watching tennis sometimes, usually just the slams, nothing crazy, but I never had that burning passion to be like, oh, I want to do this. I thought it was more unreachable.
Yeah,
I didn't think that
like it was too far.
Yeah, I didn't think that it was even possible.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't
And
know
here
anything
you are.
about it. And
This
here
year
I
you
am in a
played
podcast
US
3
Open.
years later. And I
No,
played US
and like
Open.
literally played US Open this year.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. So after college, you were like, okay, what did you graduate in?
What did I major in?
Yeah.
I majored in marketing.
Okay.
And I minored in accounting and psychology.
Okay. So what were you like, okay, I'm just going pro, or you were debating what you're gonna do after?
Honestly, after I finished my NCAAs was the last tournament of my college career, and mentally and physically after the season, I was like, I need a break. So I went on a girls' trip with my friends to Nashville. I took like a month or 2 off. I got really out of shape. But then I started to train. I moved down to Florida with my teammate that graduated at the same time as me. I was lucky enough and fortunate enough for her to take me in. So I stayed with them for a year. But yeah.
And then since then you've been playing? Or?
Since then I've been playing, yeah, nonstop. The first year I didn't really have a coach. It wasn't as stable, but for the last 2 years, I think it's been a lot better. I've had more consistent coaching. Fitness has been more consistent. I think my mindset has also changed quite a bit after being at all these tournaments and seeing these girls.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure. So your coach right now is how okay, what's his name?
Alberto.
I want to say Alberto, but like I don't want to mess up. Albert, how long has he been with you?
About a year.
Okay.
Yeah, about a year.
And before that, you were with another coach here in Florida, or you were still?
Honestly, I didn't really have a full-time set coach. I was working with Renata's brother, Pato Zarazuba. Yeah, I was working with him at the academy. And then when I started working with Alberto, it
just clicked.
Yeah.
And that's at the Pro World? Or one?
So I was at Pro World with Pato.
Okay.
And so I was doing the mornings. At one point, I was doing the mornings with Pato.
Okay.
Or with other people at Pro World and him being around my court.
Yeah.
And then I would go to Alberto in the afternoons and do more private stuff, drilling.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, I loved working with him so much. And we clicked really well. And I mean, he's an amazing coach. And after that, it was full time.
Nice.
So,
and you've seen a big change, a big shift once you like have a coach for yourself. Have you seen big improvement? Because we talk about that a lot on the podcast with different players, like, you know, how it's tough when you're doing everything on your own, and it's tough to go up in the rankings, and just like mentally, when you don't have that support. So like, I know that he travels with you also and you're training together. Has that been, I mean, obviously you improved with your rankings, right? But still,
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I think it's nice to have someone that sees you all the time, sees your game all the time, can see things from the outside that you can't see.
yeah,
And somebody who's obviously very dedicated and passionate about tennis.
yeah,
And he has a lot of knowledge to offer about tennis. He used to coach at Emilio Sanchez under Emilio
okay,
Sanchez,
okay,
who was an unbelievable tennis player in
yeah,
his time. And he's learned a lot from him. He's worked full time with a few ITF girls. He actually worked with Renata as well for a
okay,
bit. Um, but he knows a lot, and he's a great coach to have around, super
yeah,
supportive,
yeah,
and he's really into it. Like, he truly will do anything that it takes to help me get to
yeah.
where we want to be as a team. So,
No, that's amazing. And he helps you with the scheduling and everything, like with the tournaments, like, okay, we should play this and that.
yep.
I feel like that's a big part to like, like where to go, where to play. So like this this summer you had a pretty good summer. I mean, every time I open Instagram, I just see you with a trophy somewhere. I'm like, oh my God, another week. Like I just felt like, but I don't know. That's Instagram also, so I don't know the real life. Um, so you were in Europe for like 2.5 months,
Mm,
and you had very good success, at least in doubles. I saw,
yeah,
I don't know,
doubles.
singles much. So tell me more about it. Like, what did you play and how was that?
Um, Singles went well.
Okay.
It I did well in a few tournaments. I thought I competed really well. I mean, I think my game is also improving quite a bit, so that's what I'm worried about in singles.
Okay.
Doubles, I know that I have the level. I think singles needs a bit more work, obviously, and
Yeah.
it's tougher.
Yeah.
But doubles, I feel the most comfortable on court. I think I played, I don't know, 8 or 9 tournaments, and I think I finaled or won
All of them.
6 or 7 of them. Also, they weren't super high ITF tournaments. There were a few. I think there was a 75. There was a couple 35s and then a 50.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't super super high level, but
But I mean, it
no,
is.
still very
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
But
it wasn't
I
like,
mean,
oh,
for my
50.
doubles,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
know. I know.
But yeah, and actually recently I was talking to Alberto about this. We think it's we think it would be better for me if I tried to focus on singles more now. Because
Okay.
before I kind of had this mentality that, oh, I'm so much better at doubles. I'm never going to make it in singles. So I would just try to focus on doubles. I would still play singles, but
Yeah.
I wasn't really focusing on it. Um, and yeah, doubles, I felt super comfortable. And I noticed that at a high level, though, you play at these WTAs, you have singles players that are signing up and getting into doubles.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, oh, like I got lucky. We got 2 singles players. We get to play them first round. And in reality, 2 singles players can beat 2 of the best doubles players in the world any day. I mean,
Yeah.
the same roles reversed as well.
Yeah.
But I had this thought in my brain that doubles players should only be good at doubles and singles
Mhm.
players, they don't know, but they do. Because in reality, at the highest level in singles, their returns are better, their serves are better. Overall, from the back, they're better. They may not have the instincts as doubles players do,
Mm.
but they still can volley.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, if they're making returns, if they're
Yeah.
making serves,
Yeah.
if they're putting balls in from the
Yeah.
back, it's like they can beat anyone, you know? And I think that in order to become a better doubles player as well and to increase my level, I need to become a better tennis player
Yes. Yeah.
instead of just
Yeah.
focusing and like mentally
Yeah.
confusing
Yeah.
myself. So,
That really makes sense. So like how So you're won, I don't know, 40 or 15 doubles, 500 in singles. How do you like decide what tournaments to play? Because what tournaments can you get in with 140 in doubles? Can you get into 125s, 250s,
You can get
to
into
500?
pretty much almost anything, to be honest. The 120, it really depends on the weeks though, obviously, because some
Okay.
are a lot more stronger than others.
Yeah.
But I literally just got back from Guadalajara and it was a 500.
Okay.
And
But you
then,
can't play singles.
no.
So you go
But
there. Is it worth it though to do that money-wise and everything?
in that case, yeah,
Okay.
because it was about, I think it was about $3,000 each person for first round of doubles in
Okay.
Guadalajara. So
Yeah.
it's very good money
Yeah,
for
exactly.
one
Yes,
tournament, at least
yes,
going from
yes.
35s.
Yeah, but just showing up.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
But for cases like those, I think it's definitely worth it.
Today's video is sponsored by Lucky in Love. Gone are the days of ladies' golf and tennis apparel that all look the same. Lucky in Love is ushering in a new age. The high-end women's apparel brings options fit for the modern, expressive woman. Partake in the ultimate luxury and shop Lucky in Love for your new favorite fashion items for women and use code EB20 to get 20% off your next purchase. Okay.
And also the year before the same tournament last year, it was in 1,000, and we also got in, and I played in 1,000 as well, with my ranking being actually higher than it was now. It was like 170 or something.
So lower.
Yeah, lower. Yeah. Higher, lower.
I mean, bigger number, but it's lower.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's worth it. And the tournament mix, it gets a little bit more difficult with ITFs because it's like if I play at 35, if I win the whole tournament, it's really not going to matter as much for my ranking.
Okay.
But I'll play a mix of 35, 75s, 100s. Like in Europe, I think I played a couple 75s. I played 150. I played 2 35s or 3 35s or something like that. But yeah, and I'm not super into points. Like I'm not calculating how many points
I was
I
gonna
need.
ask that. Are you like driven because are you okay, by the end of the year I want to have this many points in this ranking, or you're more like process goal oriented of like just you as a tennis player, or like some things that you're working on your game and then results will show?
I think process oriented 100%.
But don't you have to be mix? Like not just one or the other, because you still want to, I mean, everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
So you're just process oriented.
I'm just
100%.
processed 100%.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes I'll get a little nervous going into like a 75. Say I won it the year before and I'm going in to play the same tournament, then I get like, oof, I have to defend these points. I need to do well, you know? But other than that, there's really no worry for me. I'm never checking these amount of points and what I need to do here or how many points I'm defending. Only if I know that I won the tournament the year before and I go back to the same one and I'm like,
That's interesting because, wait, how old are you?
26.
Okay. You're young. It depends who you're talking to.
Yeah, it depends who you're talking to.
But that's funny because I just wrote in my notes yesterday because I just, I started playing in April tournaments and I'm like, just broke into top 1,000. So for me, it's little steps for everyone, but like I'm both, right? For me, it's, I have some things that I'm working on in my game, right? And I'm focused on that, on improving myself every day as a person, as a player, just getting 1% better every day, right? But at the same time, I like having a goal. Like I like seeing the numbers. I also have a degree in accounting. So, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just like that. Like I like seeing, okay, I reached something. Okay, what's the next milestone? What's the next? And I think if you have a healthy balance. I'm not just like constantly, looking, but points changed a lot since when I played, things have changed. So like I have to see like, okay, what realistically I need to be doing to get to the goals that I want. Like, okay, I want to get into, by the end of the year, I want to get to top 600. That's my goal, right? So what tournaments, but I don't really have like somebody really helping me much with those scheduling and everything, kind of doing it by myself now. I have a few people that help here and there, but at the end of the day, like I've taken control of where I'm at. But anyways, so I have that goal. So then I wrote down like how many points I need to be in top 1,000. So I did the top 1,000. Okay, so now I crossed that off. Okay, now top 900, 800, 700. So like I needed 17 points to be inside of 1,000. And I have 18 now. You need 24 for top 900, 34, 800, 49, 700, 71, 600, 103, 500, 149, 400, 207, 300, 351 to be inside top 200. I stopped there. So then like, looking what tournaments, okay, you play at 35, you get a 30, like if you win, but it's just like, it just gets a lot when you start like thinking about it and how many points, how many rounds. But at least it gives you some, at least me now, at least I know approximately, what to play and realistically what I can do somewhere. But it's also about having that confidence. Like when I just started playing tournaments, and I want to touch back on your singles, what you were saying. When I just started playing, I was like, I haven't played in 8 years. So like, I don't know where my level is. Like, I know I can play, but I'm like, can I actually do this? So I would go into a tournament. I'm like, I'm happy if I pass qualies of a 35, 75 and win one round. Oh, I'm happy. I'm good. I want some points, right? But being around now these players and looking, I'm like, okay, I've had now in the last month like some shift in my head that's like, okay, I'm going to a 35 now in California. I'm not going just to like pass qualies. Like I know I can make a run and I'm trusting myself more. I feel like you have to have that mindset going into these tournaments. You have to trust yourself. You have to have that confidence and be also sometimes even delusional in a way to be like, I got it. I'm going with a mindset I can do it. For you, it's like, oh, I'm a, I'm not a singles player. I'm a doubles player, right? Like, but you have to like shift that in your head. Like, I got this, I can do this. I'm going and I'm gonna focus on both. I'm not just gonna get satisfied if I'm making runs in doubles and singles. Okay, whatever happens, happens. I don't know. So, and I don't know how much you're working on your mindset, how much you're working on your mental game. Is that a part of your training or you're just like focused on some tennis stuff? Like how big do you think, how important it is to work on your mental side and your confidence and all that stuff?
For me, it's like 95% of it. Mentally, I struggle a lot, not with outside of tennis stuff, but tennis is the most aggravating thing in the whole world. The amount of people that I've told, I've never gotten more upset with anything than something about tennis. Like being on court, I get so frustrated. I get so discouraged. I get so angry, so negative. It's like I have like a devil inside of me when I'm on court sometimes.
Interesting.
And that's been the biggest battle for me by far. I work super hard.
Yeah.
I do the right things. I listen really well. I do what I'm supposed to do. Um, I'm more disciplined now than I was before. And mentally, it's the hardest for me.
But is it just in tournaments or practices too? When you play practice sets?
Both, but
Both.
everything starts in practice. As Alberto's told me, he says, how are you how are you going to be 2 or 3 days during the week during practices having a super negative attitude, getting super upset at yourself, and expect to perform at the highest level mentally at a tournament when there's way more pressure, way more competition, all this stuff. And I mean, it makes sense, and that's what mainly I've been working on. And we got back from Guadalajara, and we had this training block for the next 3 weeks, and what he said to me is, he goes, all of these girls, what do you think separates someone from being top 40 versus top 10? What, do they have to spend more hours on court? Do they have to eat different things? Do they have to do all this stuff? They're like, everyone's trying to be this much better to reach the next goal. And for me, it's like, he tells me, he goes, how many bad days of practice do you think Iga Swiatek's having in a month of practicing? I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, she's a robot. Like, maybe not 2 bad practices,
maybe one. Maybe.
And he goes, Anna, if you have 2 bad practices a week, and that's not even a lot for what I was doing before. At some point, it was almost every day. And he was like, if you do that, it's going to keep adding up. So at the end of the year, you're going to have hundreds of practices, and they're going to have 15, 20. And he's like, how are you supposed to get what you want to get out of the practices when you're doing that so often? And when he said that, I was like, that's right.
You got me.
So I needed, no, seriously, you got me.
But it's so true. I agree 100% with that. But also, I just spoke about this, and I really think you have to work on it, on that stuff that you're struggling on court. You have to work on it off court. Because, and I don't know what you think about this, but you said you don't have problems when you're not on the tennis court, right? But I'm sure that there's some things, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that you deal personally with, they're kind of like same, they're correlated to like what's happening on the court, right? Because you can't expect to be this one person, off the court, and then completely different person on the court. Like it's the same. You're the same person, right? And you know deep inside within yourself what are those things that you need to work on, right? It's just like for me, like somebody asked me the other day, like, what do you think, like some trait that you have or off the court, like as a person, what you like struggle with? We all have like some things. So like, let's say anxiety, right? Off the court. Like how that translates on being a tennis player. I'm like, it translates like immediately, like, because then I go on the court, like between the points, it's like, or like thinking about what's gonna happen, and like constantly like crazy, like you know what I mean? Instead of like being present, being in that moment, it's like during the day I have to like, I have so many things to do, so many things in my head, and I'm like just going. And if I like take a step back, take a breath, calm down, then I like, okay, I get these things done, and it's good. But if I don't, I just keep going, and it gets bad, and I get upset, and then it's just like this roller coaster. It's the same thing on the court. If I start getting overwhelmed with my thoughts, oh my God, why is my forehand not working? What's wrong with my backhand? Well, I've worked on this. Why is it not going now? Oh my God, my serve, why did I make this double fault? I'm going to make another double fault now. Like it's the same thing that I'm dealing off the court with. Or like the little indecisiveness. I'm very indecisive as a person. Like when I go in the restaurant to order from a menu, it's like, well, I feel like eating this, but this is healthier, but I should be eating this, but you live once. It's like all of these things are in my head. It's the same thing on the court. I get that short ball, right? And it's like, cross court, down the line, angle, and it's like, you always need to, like, I need to work on that, being more decisive with things, from the smallest to the biggest things. So then it translates on the court. So, and I don't know how. So that's going back to that. Like, I think it's so important to work on yourself as a person and all these things that you know that you need to work on off the court, because it's gonna help you then on court. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely agreed, actually. Now that you say it like that, it completely makes sense. I mean, for me, I also have the issue of indecisiveness. I will go to a grocery store, and if
Yeah.
I'm looking for peanut butter and
Yeah.
there's 25 brands
Yeah.
of peanut butter, I'm standing there for 15
Yes,
minutes, figure out
yes.
which one to get. Like looking at the
Yes,
nutrition facts.
ingredients,
Oh, but
yes.
this one has 10 grams, but this
Yeah.
one has 6 grams,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that happens to me as well. And
Yeah.
then during the points,
Mm-hmm.
and then after the points, I'll think to myself, oof, I should have
Yes.
changed
Yes.
earlier or
Yes.
something, you know, and I question my
Yes.
indecisiveness. And then for the frustrating aspect of
Uh-huh.
tennis, I've gotten better off court because Alberto's even told me as well. He said the same thing as you.
Yeah.
You need to not fix, but you need to work on your
Yeah.
off court stuff
Yeah.
if you want to help the on court stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, if I had a drink and I spilled it in the car, or if somebody cut me off on the road, I would be not in shambles, but I would be
Yeah.
super pissed.
Yeah.
And now I've just kind of let it go and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And that's helped on court as well.
Yeah.
If something bad happens, I don't get, I mean, of course, I still get really
Yes.
upset
Yes.
sometimes. It's
Yes.
going to happen
Yes.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's not as bad as it was before. And when I have arguments off court,
Mm-hmm.
or if something's getting heated, that's the hardest for me to work on because I
Yeah.
get very emotional
Yeah.
and I get loud and it's not very
Yeah.
good, but I've also been trying to work on that.
Yeah.
And on court, kind of the same. I now recognize when I'm getting
Yeah.
upset, I'm getting pissed, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm on the edge.
Yeah.
I'm about to get really upset.
Mm-hmm.
I need to calm down and think through it.
Yeah.
Because that's an issue of mine. I'm super emotional and I get super built up.
Yeah.
To the point where I say things I don't mean, or I act emotionally.
Yeah.
And then when I do something bad, like a couple hours later, I feel super guilty and I
Yeah.
feel super awful
Yeah.
about what I did or said.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I'm saying anything super, super bad, but you know what I mean?
I know exactly.
The principle
Yeah.
behind it.
Yeah.
Like I've learned that if I take a second to
Mhm.
breathe,
Yeah.
actually use my brain to think instead of my
Yeah.
emotions,
Yeah.
it's a lot better that way.
Yeah, and it all comes with age. As an experienced woman, I'm telling you. I'm kidding. 6 years is a long time, you know, and you just every year, like what I found, like if you're aware of your things, because we all have some things that we're dealing with, that we're struggling with, every single person, a tennis player, non-tennis player, right? But a lot of people try to just like suppress that and be like just like put it like under the chair, okay, whatever. But like it follows you, like it comes on the surface eventually, right? And it bites you in a different way with something, right? So like if you're aware of it, if you recognize it, like you said, don't expect to like fix it right away or like expect this amazing change right away, right? Like, but like if you're constantly putting in that work, if you're constantly aware, like it's just gonna get better and better, then you're gonna get emotional maturity, like with things that are gonna happen with you in your life. So to be patient with yourself also, I think that's very important. You know, I see, you know, from what you're saying, you are working a lot on different things, but just be patient with it, give it time, and it's all gonna like come in place eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's never gonna be perfect, right? You're never gonna feel like, oh my God, I got it all figured out. No, but like, you know, Djokovic is also saying like those negative thoughts and those emotions, we all have them, and the anger and but like the best players, the best athletes are able to like be like, okay, it happened, I accepted it, okay, I had the outburst, whatever, but it's behind me. I'm not stuck on it for forever, you know, like on that decision that I made. Why did I make it? Like why, you know, it could have gone like this, it couldn't go like this. I'm still, you know, dealing with that. We all are. And I think that's the beauty of it. It's like you're constantly like work in progress as a person, as a player. And it's just so nice when you see like the improvements and you see like how far you've come if you look back like a year ago where you were. And if you take this like time to like, okay, my God, I'm so grateful to be here now, like how much I've improved. But like for me, when I look back last year at this time, I'm like, oh my God, it was such a mess, right? All over the place. And was not able to control my emotions, like you said, like that. But I'm learning. I'm still not the best, but we all try to be the best version of ourselves as possible. I feel like I could talk on this subject for so much, right?
It's super important, though.
It's super important. And it's super important for tennis. And that's why you mentioned like what separates top 40 and top 10. What do you think separates top 500 and top 100 player? You've been around these bigger tournaments. Like there's so many girls that are around that, like 400, 500, 300, but can't break into that like top 200, top 100. And they are like trying for so many years. They're like, even some girls, honestly, that I haven't played in 8 years, and I see the same girls playing.
The same.
And they're still around 400,
I think I've been fortunate enough with my doubles ranking to be able to play these WTAs and play. I mean, I played US Open, I played a 500, I played a couple 250s, I played my fair share of WTAs. And I want to watch these singles players play because I'm like, what's
going on?
What's the deal?
Yeah.
And for me, I think a couple of the biggest things are discipline.
Okay.
I think that they are warming up. All of them are warming up. All of them are doing fitness.
Yeah.
All of them are disciplined with what they're eating. After the matches, they're doing a cool down. They're stretching. Win or lose, 7-6 in the third, they're on the bike, And I mean, everyone can hit a ball, right? Me and you could probably practice with Iga and have a good practice. But the thing is, I think mentally they're so much tougher. I think they forget things a lot easier between points. This is just from what I see. I don't know if it's actually true.
I mean, exactly.
But it would make sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure Iga's not dwelling about a forehand that she missed in the second game of the first set.
Yeah.
In the second set,
Yeah.
But I think that they're mentally super tough.
Yeah.
I think that they do the little things a lot better. They get a short ball, they're not missing the short ball.
Yeah.
They get a second serve return on a deuce point, they're not missing the second serve return. I think they just do the little things a couple percent better. It obviously depends who you're talking about, but as you said, someone who's 500 versus someone who's 100.
Yeah.
I think those are the biggest things. I think discipline, I think mentality, and the physicalness as well.
Yeah.
They are machines. The amount of girls that I've seen that are even 100, 100 I think is a bit of a different level. But from the 100 to 300 range, physically, these girls are incredible.
Yeah.
And some of them, I'm watching them and I'm thinking to myself, tennis-wise, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm watching some of these strokes. I'm watching some of the way they play.
Yeah.
But they're just physically beasts.
Yes.
They are. And their body, they keep their body in the best shape possible. They move very well. Movement is also very important on the women's tour.
Yeah.
But those are the main things that I see that separates.
Yeah. No, but when I think about it, what you said, the physical aspect too, like when you see some of these girls are ripped and it's like the footwork. I mean, I can do the footwork maybe for 1 game or 2 games, but it's like being able to maintain that throughout the whole match.
Yeah.
It's so physical, they're, like you say, machines.
They are.
But there's some, I'm not going to name them,
that are not, in fact, machines.
I mean, their bodies don't look that athletic.
But they
Yes.
but they do things differently. I've noticed that as well.
Okay.
I've played a couple girls who you could question physically,
Yeah.
but their timing is unbelievable.
Yeah.
They change direction with the ball
Yeah.
insanely well.
Yeah.
They anticipate really well.
Yeah.
Just because, and especially they hit a huge ball that
Yeah.
doesn't come back.
Yeah.
And in the women's game, I think that's super, not super common, but it's way more common than men.
Yeah.
In men, it doesn't matter if you can hit the ball 140 miles an hour,
Yeah.
the forehand.
Yeah.
The men are more physical because of the way they're built, their bodies, everything, the way they train physically, just everything.
Yeah.
That you're not going to get away with that. But on the women's side, I feel like if you play a 6'2" tall girl who just serves huge and hits 2 balls in the court every point, she could definitely do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Just because a lot of girls can't handle that ball.
Yes. Yeah.
Or they can't handle the serve.
Yeah.
But the men, they can handle the serve. They can handle that ball.
Yeah.
It's like for men, for me, it's more of like a chess piece.
Yeah.
They don't hit the ball bigger. Like
Yeah.
Sabalenka hits a bigger ball than Sinner.
Yeah.
But Sinner sees the game so well.
Mm-hmm.
Or Zverev sees the game so well. All those guys, they're not blasting the ball. And in women, I think that they get away with it a lot. A lot.
It's so true. And also the body composition of male tennis players and women. They're all, just think about all of them.
Know.
Nobody is big.
They have like 8% body fat.
Yeah. And then you see Sabalenka or, I don't know,
she's
Punteseva
so
or
strong.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. But I agree for sure. Like, I just played against Sophie Chang.
Mm-hmm.
I played her a long time ago too, 2 times. But like you said, like she literally, like if it's going in, like I literally can't do anything with her serve. And then for him, like you can't.
She's a good example, yeah.
Like she's a good example with that what you say, like if you have that big shot, 1, 2, boom, boom. If in guys you're like that, you can't really get away with that because the other ones will get to the ball, they'll play smart. But maybe then, and girl, yeah, it's just like it's so different. It's so different.
It is
so different. This is an interesting subject, but what do you think, like game wise, like now playing these, you've been around and playing these 35s, 50s, 75s. Like, what's the difference between the girls that are winning them? Because you see, like 1 week this girl's like losing, that she wins 35 or 50, or you're like, wait, I just beat her last week, you know?
that
like
happens a lot.
So, like how, like I feel like it's just, I don't know if it's like consistency, you're playing in and out, and then you're just, if you have the level, you're gonna break through one tournament. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
For me, when I see people winning tournaments or doing well,
Yeah.
or this is my opinion, this is from what I see.
Yeah.
But I see aggressiveness.
Okay.
I mean, if you look at everyone who's in the top 100,
Yes.
there's rarely some women that are just counter punchers.
Yeah.
They don't have a weapon, you know? But if you look at Sabalenka, Iga, and Iga's supposed to be a counter puncher, but she's way more aggressive than a lot of people think she is.
I agree.
And then you have Danielle Collins, who hits every ball at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Caroline Garcia.
Yeah.
Dolehide. Kennan, the backhand. Like, they all have, and even if every single shot is not huge, they have a weapon.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of these girls at a 35 level or something like that, it's not as common, or they can, but they just can't withstand it for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And I don't know about women's tennis, the same thing. I'll be playing against some of these girls and
Yeah.
I'll beat one,
Yeah.
and then I'll see a couple weeks later she won a 50
Yeah.
or she finaled a 75.
Yeah.
And I also think it's because it's hard with tennis because yes, you want consistency, but in reality, if you do well at maybe 3 tournaments, say you win 375s out of the
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
which is tough,
Yeah.
obviously, but you
Yeah.
could lose every other
Yes.
first round
Yes.
and be 250.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something I need to get past as well
Yes.
because
Yeah.
every time I play a tournament, I
Yeah.
just should be playing the way that I want to play
Yeah.
and see how it goes. If I
Yeah.
lose 7 first rounds, I mean, yeah, it's a confidence
Yeah.
killer, but in reality, that's what happens to a lot of people. A lot of matches, they lose first round, second round,
Yeah.
and then one tournament, it just goes up.
Yeah.
And then maybe that helps their career for
Yeah.
the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But I think it's hard mentally getting past that because you want to treat every match with the
Yeah.
same importance.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. It's very confusing.
It is. It is. And it's like, and that's with tennis players, we have to like play week in, week out and learn how to deal with losses. You know, like can't dwell on it, have to learn from it. Everybody talks about it, and it's so true. But when you think about it, it's so mentally tough because you have to literally lose every week. Like you have to. I mean, but you know what I mean.
Oh, no, every week.
Yeah.
Like somebody's thinking that semis is a good tournament,
Yeah.
which it is.
It
It's
is.
like you still lose.
But you still lost.
Yeah,
And you're like, oh. But then you have to like bounce back in 2 days and play first round of the next one.
No, exactly.
And it's constant. So it's like people don't realize how mentally tough we are.
No, they don't. Or how mentally unstable we are as
Yes.
well because of that. But in
Yeah.
other sports, when you think about it, what other sports are like that? Maybe besides golf, you have one winner.
Yeah.
Like you have one winner. You have
Yeah.
32 people plus
Yeah.
qualies, 64 plus doubles, 60. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's really hard. It's really hard.
Oh my God, it's hard. We have like 5 minutes, but I did not ask you almost anything I want to ask you, but it's okay. I think it was good. I'm curious, how did you get the wild card for US Open? How did that happen? It was a surprise for you, or
Huge
like
surprise.
what was that?
I was sitting at dinner in Madrid, Spain on Friday night, and we got the call that we got the wild card.
Did you like apply for it?
Yeah, I
Okay.
applied for it.
Through USDA?
Yeah, through USTA. And I applied for that and mixed doubles as well. But you know what I was thinking? I said, Alberto and I were looking at the list for the doubles rankings, and we were thinking, okay, well, technically I'm the second or third American outside of the top 100, and whoever's 70 and higher, yeah,
Yes.
70 and higher
Yes.
will get in probably by themselves.
Yeah.
But he was saying there's a good chance. But I said, oh, I mean, I don't know. You never know with federations. They can always give it to other people or have their reasons for giving it to other people. And I've never expected much. And yeah, Friday night, I got the call in Madrid, Spain. So like 11 p.m. I was having dinner. And I didn't get the call. The guy that I signed up for mixed doubles with for US Open, he texted me, he goes, oh, congrats on the doubles wild card. I was like, what? So I look on the list on USTA online, and we were printed there. And then I called my doubles partner, and she's crying on the phone. She's like, Anna, you're joking. That's not real. Like, you're lying to me. I said I wouldn't joke about this.
Yeah.
So then I booked the next flight out. I got there actually Monday.
Oh, wow.
Because the flights before then were not reasonable, and I couldn't get a train to go to Madrid to fly out. Or I was in the south of Spain. I wasn't in Madrid.
Okay.
And yeah, and I had to play Wednesday, which is tough. I wish I had more time to prepare, but with these things, I mean, I'm obviously never going to complain about getting it because I'm super fortunate, but I wish I had a lot more time to prepare. So I wasn't as comfortable on court. It was my week of vacation. In Spain because it was after a 9-week tournament block. I was relaxing. enjoying.
Yeah, finally.
Hadn't touched a racket in 6 days, and I got the wild card. I said, I can't turn this down. I mean, it's US Open, but yeah. And Alana and I, my doubles partner, Alana, we got to the finals of an 80K. We won a 35 together.
Okay.
We semi to 75.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
that was pretty much what I think.
And how was the US Open experience?
Unbelievable.
Everything you've ever imagined?
Yeah, honestly. And it's been a dream ever since I was in that little because I didn't think I would be there.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's my home slam.
Yeah.
The amount of people that were there that came to watch me. And I'm also from Connecticut.
Yeah.
So I had my family as well. My aunt, my cousin came. My cousins on both sides. My parents flew in. Or they drove, actually. And yeah, it was super emotional.
Yeah, but
And honestly, if I stopped playing tennis tomorrow, I would be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Even though I lost easy.
Yeah.
But
still,
it's still a dream.
But that's why when people ask me, why do I do this at this age after so many years?
Mm-hmm.
Because I do have a dream. The little girl, like I have that dream. And even if it's just like that, to show up and to play, to experience that, I'll be happy. And like you said, done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why I'm doing this. And we'll see.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
So worth it. That's good. Okay, last question, or last two. Do you read books? Usually tennis players have been asking, nobody's reading books. I'm like, what's going on?
So I do.
What's
Not
your
very
favorite
often.
book?
So I think it's a Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah Hamas or something. Jamas, I don't know. But it's I randomly went into a bookstore, I think a year ago, and because I wanted to read a book because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna find different hobbies. I do like murder mysteries, but this one's more of a I don't know the name for those. Like fiction. It's like
fiction,
a fantasy, a fantasy book. And I picked it up because it looked interesting. I read the back. And then all of a sudden on TikTok, I see it blowing up. Everybody's reading it, all this stuff. And I started reading it and I really, really liked it.
Nice.
And I'm almost done with it. And I'm going to I think there's 3 or 4 more books, but it's super popular right now.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah. You?
Okay. I like self-improvement books. Like I can't, like I used to when I was younger read books like that. They're like stories and like fiction or fantasy. But like lately, I don't know, I'm in some stage of my life where I like to like feed my brain with like good healthy information. There's like so much unhealthy stuff on social media, right? So it's like currently I'm reading a book. It's called Undistracted. It's really good. I don't know by who. Before that, I read Atomic Habits.
I've read it. That
really good. There's another one, something values. I don't know. I don't know the names. Can't remember. But I like those books because I don't know. It just like I said, if like today I read 10 pages of something that's gonna like help me, I like that. I don't really. I'll watch if I really want to relax and turn off. I'll watch an episode or a movie of random something. But the thing is, like, I don't know why lately for me it's like so hard to focus and to like actually watch because, like I told you, I have so many things in my head. So I'm like watching a movie and then I feel guilty that I'm not finishing something.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So, anyways, and last question: favorite quote. Or you have some mantra you're going, something that you...
I think the one that I like the most is not really my mantra, but I think I like it a lot and I think it resonates a lot with me as well. I think the one, I mean, it's super generic, but it's the one I think it's hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Something like that.
Something, you know which one I'm talking about?
Exactly.
But for me, I think it's super important to me because I'm not a crazy talented athlete. I'm not a crazy talented. I don't have any crazy talents, to be honest. But what I do is when I'm fixated on something, I work hard.
Yeah. And it pays off.
It really has. And it showed me that multiple times in different areas of my life, not in just tennis.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of athletes and a lot of motivational speakers say that as well. They're like, in reality, everyone can get to where they want to get. But the sacrifices, the dedication, the discipline, not everybody can do that.
Totally.
But in reality, I think everyone can get to where they want to be. You don't need to have something super different unless you're a genius.
Yeah.
With, I don't know, something like that.
Even Federer talked about it, that he's like one of the most talented tennis players ever. He still has to put in the work. And it's going to show up. I love that. I live by that also, because it shows up. Maybe it's not going to show up immediately. Maybe not in the ways you want it, but it will pay off. Well, anyways, thank you so much. This was a great chat. I feel like I could sit here all day, but I do have to go and practice now and work hard. But thank you so much, and I wish you all the best in the next tournaments. And
thank you.
I'll see you around.
And you too.
Thanks. Thank you so much for supporting and listening to our podcast. Make sure to follow us on social media.
And be sure to listen to next week's episode of the Emazing Tennis Podcast.